Video, I will talk about the Google Firebase project and how to connect to a Firebase database. We will be doing that using an electron app, which I've written for the purpose of this demo. We'll also see how to insert and retrieve records from the Firebase database, and there are a variety of authentication types available, and just quickly touch base upon that as well. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Uh, so to go to Google Firebase, you have to go to console.firebase.google.com. When the page loads, you will have the opportunity to create a project. There are a lot of videos available on YouTube on how you could create a new project for yourself. But I'm not covering that in this video. I already have created a project, so I will get right into it. So once I get into my project, there are a ton of options available for me. The first one is the overview of the project, in which I can see the settings, the users and permissions, and it also gives me how much I have used and what's my billing. Then on the develop side, I have the authentication, the database, storage, hosting, and a lot of other functions like for machine learning. By the way, you can actually create and host an entire web application on Firebase if you didn't know that. But we won't cover those in this video. Maybe I'll make another one for that. Okay, so let's get into it. I have already created a database, but when you first create your project, you will get the option of creating a database. By default, it creates the Cloud Firestore database for you, and then an empty database will be created for you over here. Now, okay, so there are some rules you could set in order for if you're connecting or getting authenticated users from different areas. For example, uh, I'm just this is my own service account, so I'm going to directly connect to it using Node.js. So anything that connects to this application with the credentials that I have will allow me to read and write. But you can choose, what kind of configuration you want for your database. Okay, so this is about the Firebase database. Now let's go ahead and see how we can actually connect to this database using an Electron app. And okay, so let's start the Electron app. I've made a very basic application. So for those of you who don't know, Electron app basically is think of it as a desktop, a very powerful desktop application. It runs on Node.js, and it can do a lot of things that a desktop app that you can expect from a desktop app and more actually. And it comes with the power of the V8 engine, Google's V8 engine. So it's made for the web. Okay, so what I've done here is for the purpose of this demo, I've added five data points to add to our database, and this is our database. So we will start saving the items from here, and we will see them, just kind of enlisting each item over here. But okay, how do you connect to this database? That's the most important part. So in your project overview, you could go to your project settings. Okay, let me just enlarge this. And in your project settings, you have the service accounts. And in your service accounts, you can choose what kind of authentication you would need to connect to your database. So since this is my own service account, like I said, so I'm just using my own private key, which Firebase is providing me for the purpose of connecting to this database. All right, let's get back to our database here, and let's go back to our Electron app. So let me just show you. I have made this kind of very simple data set, and it'll preload in the form here. So I have 5 basic fields like BL number, invoice number, receivables, paid amount, balance amount, status. So this is all dummy data here. and this is the kind of data. And what we will try to do is we will try to save these items from this Electron app, which is on my desktop, to this Google Firebase application, which is in the cloud. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. I'm going to start saving it, and it's writing the data to the database, and it says item added. Oh, sorry. Let's refresh this. So basically, we are going to write all of the data to a collection called as samples. We'll just wait for this for our database to load, and there you see it's already created a samples collection for us, and in that we have successfully added our first item having the PL number ABCD12345 and all of the other attributes of this particular document. So like I was telling you, Firebase is a document-based database, which means that you can actually save a ton of other items in this one document, and you can, it's very easy to query the data as well. So okay, I have added the first item, and I've written the form in such a way that it kind of repopulates the second item and the third and the fourth. So I'm going to save the second item. Oh, sorry. I'm going to save. So it's writing the data, and you see that it's already in here. One of the things that I also wanted to show you was that it is extremely fast. It's just tremendously fast, read and write, which is available on this database. Okay, so writing the third one, and you can see as I'm clicking here, as within a second, the data is getting populated in our database. So all the 5 items I have written here in this database, and we can actually go ahead and see. So this is the first one, and here's a second one, LMNOP with invoice 4, and this is the third one, which is invoice 3, and then we have the second invoice 5, and then here we have the second invoice. So now that we've seen how to write data to our database, let's quickly go ahead and see if we can retrieve the data. So I'll just clear up the console here, and I'm going to load the data. So you see in 0.497 milliseconds, like that's half a second, you have all of the items that you have saved here right onto your screen. So this is the power of this database. It is extremely fast. It's real time. You can also add a ton of other event listeners. Whenever an item is added or changed, if you wanted to trigger some actions, all those things are quite possible. And lastly, let's quickly touch base upon authentication. So there are a lot of ways you can have the users authenticate, or if you want only a set of group of users to access to your database, then you can have that by setting up a sign-in method, and that's available in the authentication section. There are different ways that you could set it up, like with the help of an email or a password verification, a phone verification. If you're within the Google environment, then you can do a Google verification, or even Facebook and Twitter. So there are a ton of options available here. The other thing that is notable is the authorized domains. Only these domains will be allowed to connect to my database. So I'm connecting from localhost. Obviously, it's the default, which I've authorized here, so I can quickly connect. Then there is also an inbuilt authorized domain which Firebase creates for you. This is also, if you're connecting via this domain, then you can be authenticated and can be allowed to access this database. Let's go back to our database and see if the data is still there. Yep, all of our data is right here. We can choose to quickly delete this collection, and I will do that. I'm going to delete all of it, and I'll say delete. So I will no longer have anything here, but what I can do is I can simply, sorry, 1 second, let me just minimize it. Okay, so I can quickly start adding data again. So I'm going to refresh my Electron app, and I'll be ready to save more data to it. So writing data to Firestore, and the item is added, and we can also see if the items have been added here. Okay, let's wait for it to load. Yep, there you go, it's already added. So you see, this is extremely fast and real time. The moment you you click a button here, the information is already there at the back end. That's all, folks. That's all I wanted to share with you. I hope the video will be informative for you. And if there's any questions, please let me know. Thank you.